Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Yeah, Mr. Z was having some technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on. Well, I do know what's going on. I was in a dead zone. And actually, give me a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, now you guys can hopefully hear me. And yeah, so my apologies for pushing the broadcast. Or I'm sounding like Jason Black. The stream further back. Um, yeah, so BGS was streaming, and then I had some stuff come up, and so I had to just technical difficulties. Yeah, technical difficulties. But of course we did. First, is it time for Mr. Z to maybe apologize and realize that I was on the wrong side of history? Apparently Aaron has kids, and well, he has a kid at least. And yeah, and like he's a deadbeat father. I don't know how true this is. We're still waiting for the information to come out. But yeah, huh? Dr. Dunbar, right? So yeah, and shout out to Leon. I watched about 60% of that stream with Real Talk with Yanni. Shout out to Toya. I literally just saw the thumbnail for your ZPT time. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, I'm beyond Haitian fashionably late. It's ridiculous, right? Leon said, "F it, let's move on." No, actually, because if I'm on the wrong side of history, then I actually have to own that, right? And yeah, so if if Aaron is a scammer and you know, he used the sympathy of men for his own gain, and he really doesn't, you know, help, you know, struggling people, struggling families with his services and all that other stuff, plus he's speaking like he doesn't have children and he has a whole kid, then yeah, right? So right. So Mr. Z got to come back and say, yeah, good point, compassionate sis Cap. They got his full name. He'd be on child support already. Yeah, apparently, from what celebrity is saying, um, he is on child support for like $124 a month or something like that, and he's never been employed apparently. So once again, this is still up in the air. So we'll see. Um, yeah. So there's that. Um, you know, I also watched the stream with that Leon sent me. Real Talk with Yenny did a stream, um, and she covered. Shout out to BGS. She covered that same conversation. No Fugazi, I think it's called. With the young lady who was a virgin, and you know, she's a bigger build. She's not she was like super heavy set, at least from what we could see sitting down, but she still was, you know, a bit heavier, and she just had a bigger build anyway. And believe it or not, Yanni didn't sound insane all the way, kind of, sort of, somewhat. And the reason why I'm covering this is you kind of get a backstory to the reason why she acts the way she acts, right? At least online. Once again, we don't know if this is her in real life. And I continue to remind myself that I don't know who's listening to me. Right? Hysterical, Trail. Trail says she's big boned. Hysterical. Right? I continue to remind myself, you don't know who's listening to you. You don't know what 17-year-old, you don't know what 21-year-old, you don't know what 25-year-old. Right? And I'm saying that to say, when you have your own issues and traumas that you're going through and you're dealing with, if you bring that online, knowing that when you pick up that mic and you see even one person listening to you, or if you have one view, that means you are influencing at least one other person, a person you don't even know. So you have to be careful how you frame things, what you say, how you say it, the overall message on your channel, the overall message that you're attempting to convey, Yeah, right. So watching her speak about the young lady that was on the No Fugazi channel, she actually conceded the point that, if you're going to um have your own preferences and you don't prefer a man 5'8", then you have to understand that they're returning the energy. Right now, let me give Yenny some pushback on her framing on doing things for yourself, loving yourself, and not necessarily doing things for the male gaze. Here's the problem: that's not how most people operate. Number one. Number two, I understand the self-actualized thing that everybody's attempting to aspire to. I get it. I don't know how many of us will ever get there. Truly, I understand, and I see a lot of us using this language. Um, yeah. Number one. Number two. Well, this is probably number three. Hmm. You know, Yenny, I don't know if you hear this often as a man, as a black man, part of the black manosphere. We kind of make fun of that love yourself thing that women say. That's not the problem. As a matter of fact, a lot of y'all are egomaniacs. You might love yourself a little too much, right? Very, not even just self interested, very self centered, selfish people. And people do things for their own motives and reasons. Yenny, when you said go out and get it yourself, we have thousands of thousands of years of human history that women don't want to go get it themselves. That's what men are for. We used to have a contract on how this works, but women destroyed and blew up the contract. The parts they didn't like. Now they're trying to piecemeal a part that's very disadvantageous to men. Let me know how that works. Wait a minute, it's not working. It's not working. Right? This love yourself and why are you doing this for the attention? You know, real talk with Yenny. You can parlay that attention into a relationship. You can parlay that attention into a marriage, right? Number one. Number two, I'm not sure where No Fugazi is filmed. When Yenny was speaking, she was saying it's filmed in Miami, so it might be filmed down here. By the way, real talk with Yenny, if you ever come up on this, yes, Mr. Z is out of South Florida, out of Miami, Dade County. Although I don't really spend that much time in Miami anymore, but I am still in the Tri-County area. Um, I'm relatively close to Miami. Um, this is not just a Miami thing. The young lady wants love and she wants love to look a certain way. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to speak as if Miami has a special type of shallowness like the rest of the country doesn't, somewhere in Kansas doesn't, what you're actually saying is these people aren't exposed to a certain lifestyle at a high level in abundance. And so they have maybe a more wholesome worldview. Yeah. But even with men in the middle of nowhere, BFE Kansas, right? Um, BFE Wichita, right? um, if you meet them with shallow energy, you will get met with shallow energy, right? You will get met with shallow energy. That's not a Miami thing or an LA thing exclusively. I'm not saying these places might not disproportionately have this type of energy. What I am saying is, yeah, if this young lady is still a virgin, shout out to her. High moral character. I agree with the host, right? She has some sort of discipline, but when she was met with similar shallow energy, she cried. She broke. And even you, Yanni, saw that. Real talk with Yenny. Do you understand this is the dating scene for black men? This is the dating scene for black men. This is women's hypocrisy. I want to be very clear what Mr. Z is saying. It's much of the theme on my channel. Men and women are hypocrites. Generally speaking, men and women are attempting to get as much as they can for as little as possible. But men are held to a certain standard where you may not be able to pull those type of stunts. You're probably not. You're going to have to work for every inch of it, number one. Number two, we're very, very hypercritical of men's actions and their speech concerning women and women's feelings. On the other side is men and women coddling women. So what you saw on that No Fugazi show, had that young lady not gone on that show, there is a high likeliness, she's already 34, there's a high likeliness she could have lived the rest of her life and never had that type of conversation. Me and you both know that, Yanni. She would have just had women and men blown smoke up her ass for the rest of her life. Or at least until it was too late and she had aged out the game completely. Huh? Women aren't met with the mirror, right? That is one of the issues that we have, not just in dating, in mating, in marriage. Women aren't hit with the mirror. Boys are hit with the mirror. I didn't even say men yet. There's very few when it comes to the interaction between men and women, especially with social media. I don't know how much your average man can get away with. He will be on some predator list. He will have his picture plastered. He will be this is my boy. What's the website or the page where women find out if their man is dating other women or is, you know. Yes. So what you saw there is what men come into contact with often. If y'all notice, the specific content creators I critique, Yenny has something like 250,000 plus subscribers. There's a reason why I mention her. There's a reason why I mentioned Bowser. There's a reason why I mentioned Chrissy. There's a reason why I mentioned Paris Milan. These people are influential. The do it for yourself thing sounds nice. And to a certain extent, it's actually true. And to another, it's full of crap. That's not how people work. Thank you, Dr. Dunbar. Are we dating the same guy? Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Right? You can't create a community if you're speaking about community minded and family minded and marriage minded. Real talk with Yanni. It's as if everyone refuses to actually grapple with women's hypocrisy. In our case, in the Black community, Black women's hypocrisy. Real talk with Yanni. That's what you saw on Kevin Samuel's show every night. I am still waiting. I'm gonna be waiting until I die. I am still waiting for one of his detractors to actually give a good faith effort. It's never gonna happen. I know. Z, you are delusional as hell. And actually critique show by show by show. And do it live. If it will do it live, right? And do it live. Right? So that your reaction and your responses can be unedited. Huh? And GC says, what are we on today, folks? You know, I'm just quick stream, pop-up stream. Well, it's not really a pop-up because it's like damn near 2 hours late. But no, actually, like, yeah, about 2 hours late, hour and a half and some such late. We are talking about whether Mr. Z should hold this L because it looked like Aaron might have bamboozled I won't even say y'all. Y'all don't even got to hold an L. Mr. Z, right? We're still waiting for stuff to come out, but Celebrity looks like she's digging up child support papers and whatnot, and this dude might have never been employed, et cetera, right? So, we're still waiting, but it looks like Mr. Z might have to hold his L, right? And as I said before, and I said it and I meant it, and I recall saying it, so I meant it. Um, F it, if I have to be the one to sink with the ship of not throwing Aaron under the bus, especially for what at the time I thought was petty, um, then so be it. I'll do it. And this is me sinking with the ship, right? And let me see. Give me a second. And LXST says Z, check the earlier comments. Wait a minute. Let's see. Thank you, Toya, by the way. Y'all give me a second. We're just rolling through the comments. LXST said 3 hours later, hysterical. Leon says, I'm never on time. Oh, man, hysterical. Leon says, I want to hear a segment, Willie Pete versus Mr. Z rant. No, I think I get washed by Sarge Willie Pete. Toya said, paging Z, hysterical. Someone light up the beacon, hysterical. Right? Yeah. Dr. Dunbar, this was funny. This was funny. Right? No, I think I get washed by Sarge Willie Pete. Right? He's been in the game longer. When it comes to general intelligence or general information, better yet, and even intelligence, Sarge is older than I am. I think he's more experienced than I am. Probably doing better in life than I am. Yeah, no. So I think I get washed by Sarge. I ain't even go. Yeah, no. GC said Z wash, no chance. Z is a humble guy, y'all. Outside of racing games and the occasional talking crap, me and one of my boys just went back and forth on WhatsApp in front of his wife and his younger sister. Is hysterical. But yeah, he makes fun of the fact that I have no hair. I'm bald, and I make fun of his struggle beard because we're pretty much in our late 30s now, and I have a beard, no hair, and he has a tape line and a struggle beard. So, but outside of things like that, I pretty much try to stay low with when it comes to the back and forths and whatnot. Are there debates that I think I can win? Yes, clearly. I've said it on my channel, but yeah, you pretty much, I've heard once, and shout out to this gentleman out of Chicago. Shout out to the Roger Report. You under promise and you over deliver. And yeah. Indigo said struggle beard gang. No, not you, Indigo. Indigo said he got the struggle beard too. Hysterical, right? But yeah, no, I right. Mr. Shook to you said my beard didn't fully connect until after 40. Indigo said I got hair though. Shout out to to the brothers with no beard and no hairline. Oh, I guess those are the brothers that are like super diesel, right? They like live in the gym, right? But back to the topic. No, I am taking this L publicly because I spoke publicly, right? And I stood on what I was standing on, and I meant it then, and I mean it now, right? And I said it, if I got to go down with the ship of not throwing him under the bus so hastily, then so be it. Trail said hairline at 50. Stop bragging, Trail. I kid. Right? Indigo said that's probably gonna be me, lol. But yeah, no, I mean, no, it's something to really, it's something I felt the necessity to. Um, yeah, no, it definitely. If I said it publicly, then and I meant what I said, and I mean it now, then that is what it is. Um, yeah, and like I said, I watched BGS stream of critiquing the no fugazi conversation, and Real Talk with Yenny, believe it or not, agreed with him. Um, and but her reasoning was a bit different, and she keeps on questioning why these women are going on to these type of man conversations, in our case Black manosphere type of spaces. Real Talk with Yenny, because they're looking for something. They're advertising and they're looking for something. Real Talk with Yenny, they're looking for a lifestyle. They're looking for a man to subsidize their lifestyle. They're looking for attention. I'm only stating the obvious, Yenny, because these are things you know, but you posed a question, so I'm answering it. Right? Good point. And GC says, why? Because women like to talk and argue. Yenny, you know the answer to this question. Maybe because it's you who may not, whew, that's a hard ass may not comport yourself this way, or you may not subscribe to this for attention, although you have a channel with 250,000 subscribers. So and you show your face. But either way, okay, let's assume that you do not subscribe to this type of conversation for attention. Yeah, but other people, women do. Other Black women do. Real Talk with Yenny, Chrissy, Bowser, right? Y'all act like y'all don't understand why women go onto these shows, why women night after night after night went onto Kevin's show, and they're going on to No Fugazi, and they're going on to Cruise Season, and they're going on onto all of these different shows on the internet and showing their faces, by the way, and Daily Wrap Up Crew. You don't get it? Or do you get it? It's just you can't admit that women will do these things for attention. They don't want to expend the energy for a certain lifestyle. And even for the women that have the money, once again, say that again, Z, they have the money. This is when the conversation, or the question, better yet, of power couple comes in. This is the, yeah, my money is my money and his money is my money, right? That's where that comes in. Thank you, Toya. The internet will expose us all. Real Talk with Yenny, they are looking for their 5 minutes of fame. And if their 5 minutes of fame is get a little too smart at the mouth with Kevin and being humbled, and I don't mean that in the kind of hood ass way, but truly being humbled, they'll do it. Right? They will do it. Right? You see it. You see it. These women are going on to Fresh and Fit even after all the rumors. They don't care. Black women are still going on to Fresh and Fit knowing who Myron is. You're a YouTube or Google search away. They don't care. And I think you take for granted, Real Talk with Yenny, that you have made a career off of YouTube. Most people are not going to be able to climb themselves out of working class conditions off of social media. That's not going to happen. So that go get it yourself thing sounds nice when entertainers say it, right? When social media content creators say it, that sounds nice. I'm not saying you don't spend time editing. I'm not saying you didn't spend any time on cameras that are expensive. I'm not saying you don't spend time making sure the lighting is right. I know you definitely spend time on your makeup, etc., etc. That is not what Mr. Z is saying. I'm saying you take it for granted that women, that includes Black women, want to just live off of a $42,000 a year. They're $50,000 a year. They're $35,000 a year. You take that for granted. They're not trying to live off of that and that's it. Huh? So if going on to daily wrap up crew and telling your name and people seeing you and somebody, oh, who the hell is that? Huh? Women will do it. I'm not saying anything you don't already know, Yanni. I'm only stating the obvious. Trail said red light in a cell phone. Hysterical, right? So I'm definitely, thank you, Lion. Attention is currency, right? What's going on, Pasparoji? What's going on, Dre? Right? So, I just wanted to come in and kind of speak about those things. And yeah, I caught BGS's live earlier. I still haven't caught on well, I have it in my history. Um what was going on his third channel. By the way, the stream that BGS, well, not the stream, the young lady that BGS covered today, 45-year-old young lady, who looks well for her age. Did she not sound like us in many respects? Did she not sound like she been listening to the Black Manosphere? Right? Huh. AB says, check your email. Give me 1 second, AB. Give me 1 second. Okay. 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 I'll check it out. Right? All right, we're back. Right? So yeah, she sounded like she been listening to the Black Manosphere. But I think that might be just, Jamaican father and, raised to be black pill. Right? Raised to be black pill. I call it burgundy pill because with it, in many ways she sounds like a something went wrong. I agree with BGS. Something went wrong. Something's not right because the energy was still fueled by there's some type of resentment there, right? There's some type of resentment there. There's some type of I had to learn the hard way there, and so like that's the energy it gave me, right? That's the energy she gave me. I really hate using energy this often. Sound like one of these sisters out here. Your energy, positive energy, right? And Leon says guaranteed outcomes. Yeah, no, but I don't think that's an exclusively woman thing. I think boys and men are made to know that there's no guarantees and there's no guaranteed outcomes, and you're made to know it pretty young. So as an adult, you don't necessarily resent the gamble that life is. And maybe I've used this term before. Y'all have heard me use this term. Maybe we really have to have a conversation amongst the entire Black community about far too many of us having some form of arrested development, whether it's arrested development of our emotions, um, whether it's arrested development as literally developing as a person and the milestones that we say that you're supposed to hit or society says that you're supposed to hit at a certain age, but yeah, no, I think that we're dealing with a lot of people with some sort of arrested development. And I would argue that that is why when certain things happen in their life, they take it so personally and it's so devastating. Even things that may not even happen to them in their life, right? You see how personal it is, right? When Ole was reading on her channel the message that she got from one of these swirler divester types who doesn't even have a man. What I was getting from Ole was the veracity. Is that the word I'm looking for? The intensity. That's better. The intensity that the young lady was hitting her with through that message, as if Black women, quote unquote, expanding their options was of paramount concern. as if it was an existential crisis. If black women did not expand their options, translation just date out primarily white men, that black men would drag black women into a lifetime of poverty, if not delete black women. And that was the way that it sounded to me that Ole was reading it from that young lady. Meanwhile, we already know that actually black men have more wealth than black women in America, right? I bring that up to say you can have that type of feeling when you never grew up and you're still heartbroken about something from middle school or high school. You can be that invested in Simone Ball Owens and Jonathan Owens when you never grew up, right? So I would argue we're dealing with a bunch of people who just never grew up. They never grew, and they were never made to grow up. And that's a function of a lot. It's a function of those people's parents. It's a function of the environment. It's the function of the socioeconomic environment. The not even socioeconomic. I said that wrong. Economic environment, right? Because you can't expect people to hit milestones and then make it super difficult for them to hit the damn they're impossible for them to hit the milestones. From home ownership to moving out of one's parents' home, right? To when you get your first reliable car. I didn't say your first car. Some of us, our first car wasn't reliable worth a damn, right? Z just raised his hands, right? So these milestones, I think, being pushed further and further back, allow for people to play in their adolescence or their childhood for maybe far too long. So yes, this person may be a person that pay bills and that has certain responsibilities, but emotionally they're 12, right? And I wonder how many of these people, because we know some of the most egregious ones, right? But I wonder how many of these people that I'm describing are content creators. And I think we see that a little bit with Yanni, right? Huh. This is a fully grown adult who is paying bills and who is living on her own and who's paying bills at a pretty high level, particularly for a black woman, particularly for a black woman of her age, right? And is single and is doing the thing, right, by herself from what we can tell. But yet there's something, right? And it's as if she's trying to fill, and I no pun intended with this, no pun intended, fill that hole with just a bunch of content and you know going out and just different things. And I'm tying her to a lot of black women, a lot of black people, a lot of people, particularly in America, right? So once again, Leon, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, right? And Gregory Scotland says, and thank you for the super chat. Salute, Z. Daphne is going very hard, very interesting in the tradition of Courtney, Six, Sis George, and Melanie. Yeah, yeah. And I'm waiting to see how this, if and when this comes to a conclusion, where I will be standing, right? So yeah, because I already put my foot in it, and I said where I stood, and I damn near gave it, not even damn near, I gave a disclaimer about throwing black people, black men under the bus so easily for the smallest infractions, really because we mad that that Negro spoke, and I said we as in the black community, not as the black manosphere. We're mad that this Negro spoke, especially spoke to the queens the way he did, right? Talk about, yes, Mr. Z saw the video of Rick Ross in Canada. Yes, I saw it. And I don't know how many white dudes was saying the N word, but I heard a whole lot of N words. For those of you that saw that video, Dre, what's going on with your with your peoples, with your maple people, right? Tell the Canadians they don't want it with the Americans, right? Kendrick was right. Y'all can't imitate this violence. Y'all can't replicate this violence. Y'all cannot do anything with this violence, right? Yeah. Well, yeah, she did. I was there. And LXST says, "We're with you, Z. Don't fall until the very last man." I hear you. And Indigo says, "She really said he was worse than Rhoda." Yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna take that as a as a hyperbolic statement in the moment. She could mean it. She could still mean it, But in this case, you give people leeway a little bit. Sometimes we say things, in the heat of the moment, and right now I'm feeling generous, and yeah, um, yeah. But she did say that. I heard it, right? She did say it, right? So yeah. Mr. Strickton, you said Canadians don't get chin checked enough. Them boys were going Negro crazy. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, you saw the security dude handle about two of them, and then when it became about three or whatever or more, yeah. And then even with that, like, dude is still he wasn't standing. He wasn't laying down yet either. But he was on all fours, and they were like kicking him in the face, and he still wasn't laying down. I'm like, yo, you taking straight feet to the face and punches, and like, yo, he was still, yeah. So, and people made the whole 50 jokes, and 50 gonna have a field day with this, and I don't know why that annoyed me. Like, bro, like, this is the time when Americans supposed to be rah 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 Americans, and I'm not, really going on to Canadians right now, but I am saying, like, you think this is the time to be saying, yeah, 50 gonna have a field day with this? And he is, by the way. He is. Oh boy. Um, but don't you think this is the time to be like, nah, bro, we stand with our fellow American rappers? No? Okay, well, maybe it's just Z, right? Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. And where is that? And Dre says, that's Vancouver. LOL. That it's different out there. Apparently. Right? Apparently. Right. Yeah, I saw. And Dre says one of Ross' boys got put to sleep. I saw. Right. I saw. Right. And once again, thank you for the super chat. Gregory Scotland, thank you for the super chat. And KMS, thank you for the super chat. It's not an LZ. And KMS says it's not an LZ. I don't care what Aaron supposedly did or which he is or what he is. I think you meant to say or which he is. Okay. Black women love liars, scammers, and bad men. Right? True. His sin was talking back. Period. Yeah. No, you're right about that. You're right about that. And that I will stand on. And shout out to Raj, who to me gave the most appropriate framing. And the Raj report says, if I get it correctly, why do we even know anything about Aaron? Is it simply because he went on the Pop the Balloon show? Or is it because he went on the Pop the Balloon show and he returned the same energy to the ladies, and then people went digging into his past or into him, right? Into whoever he is, so that they can show, look, bad man, that's why he's talking like that. Don't be like him, right? And parade him around the black community as what you're not supposed to be and what you're not supposed to do, right? So yeah. J-Lock, low-key, I kind of hope not. I ain't even gonna read it out loud, but I kind of hope not, because I don't want this to turn into that. It slightly kind of already has, because I think people can't take a L, and like shout out to Dre, because I think I heard Dre sound like, you just take the L, right? Like you walked into the booth against the monster and like you got your head taken off and like put on a pike in front of everyone. Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing. But you're still gonna do numbers and make money, et cetera, et cetera. And I think certain people were so okay. Let me say this. And I've said this on Roger Report's channel years ago, years and years and years ago. And Drake will back me up. And anyone um who has family members outside of America, black people outside of America, they will tell you this. There is an extreme jealousy of ADOS, FBA, and by extension, other black Americanized people, but definitely ADOS, FBA, as being the face of black people on planet Earth. There is an extreme jealousy of ADOS, FBA in particular, but also those of us that were born and raised in America and are pretty much Americanized black people. And so Drake represented a Canadian, for all intents and purposes, a Canadian that was at the pinnacle of the rap game for over a decade. Right? And there are a lot of, I would argue, never being to Canada, but from what I can see, the investment in him wasn't just national pride. It's all these Americans think they all that. And the face of hip hop is Canadian. Right? Like, don't let it be lost on you that the Drake stimulus plan in the minds of many black Canadians was also seen as the Canadian stimulus plan for black American rappers. Look, it's Canadian that gotta save you your little career that you gotta feature with. Right? Yeah. No, he is. And GC says Drake is technically ADOS via, give me a second, via his dad though. Yeah, no, you're right. He is. Right? But there's still he's still Canadian for all intents and purposes. He's still Canadian, right? And when you look at and you can see this when, for those of us who listen to any British rap or UK rap, better yet, grime music, and you watch some of the interviews of some of the artists, and you watch, there is and some of them are doing numbers, right? Some of them are doing numbers, but it trickles into America for people like Z that listen, right? And it does numbers across the rest of the English speaking world outside of America, Canada, Australia, Britain, certain Nigeria, because obviously many Nigerian and Nigerian descent people live in the UK, etc., etc. But when you watch the interviews of some of these artists, these black artists coming out of the UK, there's the damn, but I didn't break the American market, and there's a jealousy there. There's I know I rap better than like 90% of them in the US, but they just won't let me in. Right? So yeah. I would argue that the investment in Drake is not just Drake. It's what Drake represents as for all intents and purposes, a non-black American rapper who was on top of the charts for damn near a decade. Right? So yeah. If that makes any sense. If anything I says make any sense, everybody, right? Yeah. Good point. And Drake, sorry. Afro National says Drake is culturally a Canadian small hat with ADOS lineage, which explains his bipolar tendencies, right? Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. Joe says, KS says, Kevin Samuel said, black men need to become more arrogant. Oh boy, ain't nothing they hate more than an arrogant black man. Especially when they don't think you should be arrogant, right? People can kind of understand, let's say, Diddy pre what we know about him now, right? People can understand that arrogance. People can understand a certain level of Jay-Z arrogance, right? Obviously, 50 arrogance, right? People can get that. But Joe Smo black man earning $65,000 a year, oh, and you're arrogant, right? Oh no. And you're not particularly tall, you're not particularly extremely good looking, you're not particularly, overly muscular. You're just Joe Schmo black man. You earn $65,000 a year. You drive a 6-year-old F-150, and you have a regular ass apartment that you pay for every month, right? Yeah. And you're arrogant? Oh, if you don't delete yourself, right? So yeah. And KMS continues, and thank you for the super chat. Um Bad Aaron, bad dog, hysterical. What black women are doing is the equivalent of putting a dog down, then checking to see if it has rabies to justify if it after the fact. Bro, I agree 100% with that. I agree with and doing it publicly as a show of, dear black men, this is what you don't do. So Aaron, I'll say Aaron, sorry. KMS, I agree with you 100% on that one. Right. It is in your previous comment. It is because he talked back. It is, right? Good point. Yeah, Vic. I didn't add that part. You're right. And Vic says, correction. Addendum to what I said. And Vic says, a non-black American rapper who can say the N-word. Very important. Very important. Yeah, yeah. And Toya says, a little too eager to take y'all down. And yes, um, I still maintain that Aaron he represents the one big Negro, and so taking him down by proxy takes black men down, particularly black men in the black manosphere. Um, and like we all know that. I'm just stating the obvious with that one, but yeah, no, I agree with Toya on this one. A little too eager to take us down, and yeah, well, we understand why. And I still haven't read that damn article. I just realized that. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna get to the article because I gotta do a whole stream about that. And Buckeye fan, no, Mr. Z did not forget about No Scrubs and TLC. Like I said, I got a whole list. I got a list of stuff to cover, y'all. I got a list. Indigo said composite Negro, hysterical. Oh, they sketching Negroes. Oh man. Yeah, but no. Yeah. Yep. And Neymer says, Fat Joe was known for using the N words in his lyrics, and I think he's been confronted about that, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think he's been confronted about that. But yeah, no, the Aaron just represented in a Negro that didn't know his place, a talking back Negro, and how dare you, right? A talking back Negro is like the worst thing in the world. You talking back? And like I said, and you're the buck. How dare you talk back? Right? You're supposed to be our safe space. Right? How dare you talk back? Right? Let's go to Only Logical. Only Logical. Man, that the mixed Asian, different lifestyle brother. I'm assuming he's a different lifestyle brother. And he might not even be, but no, that hair, no, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. No, don't even do that, Z. Right? But yeah, that video right there, he was telling the divestors the truth about themselves. It doesn't change anything, quite frankly. But yeah, that it speaks volumes because I think mixed men, particularly the ones who mothers are not part of the dominant society, I think they have a lot to say about the dynamic between their mother and their father. Because it's just, at least from my experience, it's too common for mixed men where the mother is black or Asian or like indigenous looking, Latina, for them to express some sort of, and whether it's begging to be part of the power structure, like, yes, I'm mixed, but my father was white and my dad is white, and like y'all are not treating me like the white man that I was socialized to be. Whether it's that, or whether it's the other direction, like this brother, where you're honest about how your mother got to that position, pun intended, um, and the power play between your non-white mother, your mother of color, excuse me, and your Asian father, white father, Latino father, but really your white father. In this case, we know um, his biological father is Asian and his mom is black. But I, I think the mixed men, I think there's something there, right? Because I'm seeing this. So you saw this with the Councilman gentleman, and you could see like this. That's why he had to claim Eurasian the way he did, right? I personally had a conversation on social media with another um Hoppa dude that expressed some issues with the way his mother saw white men as like gods practically, right? Yeah, right. So I think, you know, and if Mindy Kaling is not careful, does Mindy Kaling have a son, or is it, or does she just have daughters? But yeah, if Mindy Kaling is not careful, you will give your if you do have a son, you will give your son a complex if he doesn't already have one, right? That's, yes, him too. Look at that. You you clearly have a thing for black women, clearly. And yes, you know, we already know he was targeting them because they had records, and he was blackmailing them, et cetera, et cetera. And he did grape a couple of them. Um, yeah, we already know. But you are engaged to like this dolled up, like busty white woman, and yet you are targeting black women, right? You are a police officer, and you are using your power to target black women, right? And essentially force yourself onto them. So yeah, yeah, I do think I agree. Some of them come out very, only logical said Eurasian tiger. Yeah, no. So yeah, mixed men. I mean, Drake. Drake doesn't seem like he has issues. I've been smelling that on him since the beginning, right? And that's the button that Pusha T pressed when he said your hair doesn't nap enough. Pusha knew exactly where to put to go at him, right? Yep. So Pusha flipped that whole quote unquote good hair stereotype on its head. And you think that didn't hit Drake? Your hair don't nap enough. Flip the whole quote unquote good hair stereotype on its head. One statement, right? And LXST says, my mixed roommate mom is white, father, I'm sorry, my mixed roommate um mom is white, father is black, but pushes him to date black women. If you could believe it, I could believe it. I could believe it. Right? Exactly, Vic. Black streetwalkers at that. Right? And we're talking about Daniel Holzclaw still. Yeah, Daniel Holzclaw. Yeah, it was black streetwalkers, which is, yeah. So you clearly you want easy access, right? And you got off on that kind of power play, but you wouldn't target, and there is something to be said about, in this case, the vulnerability of black women in particular. That's why you were targeting them. That's another reason why you were targeting them. But yeah, that was some sick stuff. That was some real sick thing. And the fact that wasn't Michelle Malkin that was still defending him after the guilty verdict. It's like, bruh, right? Was it Michelle Malkin? I want to say it was Michelle Malkin. Oh, bum ass, right? Yeah, good point, GC. He won the Hopper lottery, got himself a white woman, but it wasn't enough. Yep, yep, right. And Detroit says, and thank you for the super chat. Are the black women's is truly master and much of boss of black men? We were raised in the gynocracy, right? We were raised in the gynocracy. So I would argue for too many black men. The answer to your question is yes. That's why we exist in the black manosphere, right? I would say yes. I would say yes. We are raised in the gynocracy. We are socialized in the gynocracy. Yeah. To answer your question, absolutely. Yes. Right. Huh. GC says he doesn't want white grandbabies. Should have thought about that. Um, should have thought of that before playing in the snow, bro. Yeah, right. And that rhymes, snow and bro. Yeah, no. It. I'm not gonna be here too long. I just wanted to pop up and take my L publicly. I know y'all say don't go down with the ship, Z, but I said it. No, I said it. I meant it, right? But and I do understand I'm doing this prematurely, right? Premature ejaculation. But I do understand I'm doing this prematurely because we don't know all the information yet, and we don't know how this is gonna land. So I get it. I do, right? But as I said it, I don't want to throw him under the bus prematurely. I think we were way too hasty, and I say we as a black community, we as black Twitter, Z, but this wasn't even on Twitter really. Black Twitter, when I say black Twitter, I mean the whole black social media ecosystem. So yeah, I think black Twitter just threw him under the bus way too easily, way too quickly. Oh boy, right? And I was apprehensive. I'm like, for what? For talking back? I understand that is a unforgivable sin in the black community, but we're doing too much. And as I said before, if I have to go down with the ship, so be it. So I'm prematurely saying maybe Mr. Z has to walk around with this L on his back, right? So yeah. And Toya says Black Twitter is a good catch-all. Thank you, Toya. Because I just call all of it Black Twitter, right? And I think, yeah, you're right. It fits. It fits, right? YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, clearly Twitter X, yeah, Facebook, the places on social media where black people congregate, right? So yeah, and you just call all of that black Twitter, right? LXST says shea butter Twitter is gonna shea butter Twitter. Yeah, right. Vince's post gynocratic cool black men. Yeah, people. Shout out to first. Shout out to Compassionate for saying that, and then secondly, shout out to Black Uru for inspiring that thought in Compassionate to say that. For those of you that missed it, we were having a conversation, or was I privy to it and I wasn't there? Some of these be running into each other sometimes, but Black Uru was describing, watching grandmother, mother, and daughter, and sometimes maybe even grandmother in the kitchen talking to each other, right? And advising each other, especially grandma or great grandma, and how open the kids were because obviously they had already been socialized with grams and grandma. And so, you had a matriarch at that time, but not a gynocracy. And once again, Black Uru didn't say all that part. I'm saying that. And but then slowly but surely, it did not, that kind of dissipated, and now we have this full blown gynocracy where mama can barely tell daughter anything, let alone grandma, and if there's a great grandma, great grandma. And Compassionate said, so in other words, the gynocracy waged a coup against the matriarchy. And I thought that was said so perfectly. Shout out to Compassionate. Compassionate, you might want to clip yourself because that was actually genius when you said it. Right? And it might not be a short, it might be like a couple minute long video of Black Uru describing that, and then you kind of putting a nice little bow on it by saying, the gynocracy essentially overthrew the matriarchy. And we're not even saying matriarchy is all that good, but we are saying what we got now is even worse than whatever that was, right? That's funny. And Leon says, look at Z showing that he is better than the women and showing accountability for no reason. Isn't that what men do? Fall on your sword? Right? Yeah. I'm saying. Isn't that's yeah. And yeah. And Dr. Thunder says that he likes Toya's picture, and Toya says, thank you, Dr. Thunder. And because I really want to ask this question, so that's why I read this. And Dr. Thunder says, I want a truck the color of your dress. Dr. Thunder, what trucks are you looking at? I really just wanted to ask the question. That's why I read all of that, just so I could be nosy and ask. And by the way, thank you for the super chat, Dr. Thunders. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you once again for the super chat, Detroit. Thank you for the super chat. Right? Because I'm a car guy and I just want to know what trucks you're looking at. So just because. Okay, yeah. It was Vincent. Yeah. It was Vincent. In Black Uru, and then Compassionate with the nice bow at the end, and buttoned it up real nice with the usurping of the matriarchy by the gynocracy. And Vince's crackhead auntie ran renegade. LOL. Uh-oh. Doc, that's gonna be a hard choice. Doc says the Ram 1500 and the F-150. Those are the two trucks. Yeah, that's gonna be a difficult one. Quad cab. Of course it was gonna be a quad cab, dog. You got a son. Right? Yeah. I mean, the F-150 is America's truck. That is like as red, white, and blue as you possibly can get. Right? It's fascinating that Ford makes two of the most American vehicles you can possibly ever imagine. And I'm not even sure if they're both built literally in America. I thought the F-150 was built in Mexico last time I checked, or one of the F-Series trucks. And I think one of the generations, I think the Mustang might be built in Canada, talking about that. But either way, shout out to NAFTA. But yeah, those are the most like American vehicles you can possibly get, like the F-150 and the Ford Mustang, right? And Doc says probably the F-150, probably the Ford because I dig the tech, right? I currently have an Explorer. The Explorers are dope. You have the EcoBoost Explorer, right? And Uncut says Super Duty only. Oh, okay. The Super Duty is the only one that's built in Mexico. Okay, thank you. Because I was like, yeah, last time I checked, I think one of the F-Series trucks was built in Mexico. Yeah. So the EcoBoost Explorers are dope. There's the Ford Explorer ST Turbo, which is like 400 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and like if you could put a couple of bolt-ons, it'll be a problem. Yeah. Oh, that's what I wanted to say about the Super Duty. So, shout out to the South and definitely Florida, because we get to roll coal, and y'all can't do that in Cali. So, right? And it's so environmentally unfriendly, but yeah, we roll coal down here, right? We definitely do that. And you have in Florida, we have 600 and 700 and 800 horsepower F250s and F350s went around, right? And ain't nothing funnier than getting beat by a 7,000-pound truck. You got walked by a 7,000-pound truck, and I have a boy with he has an old F250, like the 2003-ish, 4-ish generation of F250s and F350s. Yeah, which you find so many of them in Florida, and these dudes hooked them up and put bigger turbos, and yeah, you're getting beat by a turbo diesel truck that weighs like, once again, 7,000 pounds, more than 7,000 pounds. Oh, yep, the 6.0. And Uncut says, I have a built 6.0 Power Stroke. Yep, that my boy has the exact same engine. Yep. Toya, you see me? And Toya says, with palm trees as a backdrop is nasty work. Rolling coal in sunny, let's say it's nice out, sunny, beautiful weather, palm trees, South Florida, and all you see is this truck burn rubber. So you see white smoke and gray, dark gray, or just black smoke. And the black smoke is coming out the tailpipe, and the white smoke is coming off the tires. Embarrassing. And he's walking you, and you can't even really see in front of you because he's walking you and he's dumping black smoke as he's walking past you. Jesus Christ. Welcome to Florida, y'all. Isn't that the reason why we get turbos, Uncut? For all of us that are into turbo vehicles, isn't that why we do it? For that sound, right? That's why we do it. And for the that's why we do it. Or the that's why we do it, yo. Right? Pastor Transit. Yeah, I saw it. That's too. Once you start getting into those type of, like, the 550s, the 650s. You're right. The 650s. That's a tow truck, right? Like, people use rigs for, like, we're using rigs for offlanders, or is it called outlanders? I can't remember. Those lifted, when we lift them up and put mud tires and whatever. But for me, rigs are like F650s. Like, that's a rig, right? Yeah. And Dr. Thunder says, underground, good stuff. I had a Ram 1500 years ago, and my first vehicle was a Toyota Tacoma extended cab. Ancient history, right? You had a Taco back. Well, I think, yeah, you did tell me that before, Doc, that you had a Taco back in the day. Yeah, those Tundras will last if their frame doesn't go to crap. But yeah, those Tundras will last if they don't get rusted away. But the engine will keep on going, right? Yeah. And Uncut says the Power Stroke. There's a pun in there. The Power Stroke powers the entire range of Ford trucks. True. Right, true. All right, y'all. Let Mr. Z go so that Ms. Z could get some quality time. I did see. Okay, yeah. Before we go, let's acknowledge this. And Dr. Thunder says, take some of my sandwich money. And hashtag sandwich gang. It's always funny. That was when the first time I ever heard you say that. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world, because it is. So once again, Mr. Z came up. We did a lot of talking about other things, but I originally came up to say I might have to hold this L publicly. And I meant what I said when I said it, right? And Compassionate says, AZ, what's the loud whining sound the SRT Cherokee make? Oh, the supercharger. That's the supercharger, right? Yeah, that's the supercharger. That's the same sound the Hellcats make, the Red Eyes make, the GT500s from about 05-ish, 06-ish, and afterward make. They were all supercharged. As a matter of fact, that generation GT500 and this generation GT500 and the one from like 2012 ish, 2013 ish. That's something, or was it 2010 ish, something like that. But anyway, that generation of GT500, they're all supercharged. The you can't really hear it, but the Z06, no, not the Z06s, the ZR1, the Corvette ZR1 is supercharged also. But yeah, that's a supercharger. Whenever you hear that whining sound, it's probably a supercharger, right? 9 times out of 10, it's a supercharged car. Yeah. God damn. And Uncut says the 6.7, that's a 6.7 out of the F350s, is putting down 1,000 pounds of torque off the lot. Well, you need that if you're gonna be towing for real, for real. If you do, so what they do here in South Florida, because we're a boating community, and obviously we're by the water, is people have their small businesses and they use those to tow people's boats back and forth for them, right? So you rent out a certain space and your boat is there, and you contact these people and they run your boat from the dock back for you. And yeah, and these are not any light boats. The big boy dually F350s can tow like 35,000 pounds, which is insane. That's for a regular truck that you don't have to have a license for. You can, well, obviously you have to have a license, but not a CDL or anything. That you can go pick up the lot right. Excuse me. That you can go pick up off the lot right now if you have the money. That's crazy. 35,000 pounds, y'all. And by the way, the Silverado can tow just about the same amount, and the Dodge Ram 3500 dually, whatever. All three of them are around like that 35,000 pound tow capacity. That's crazy. Especially when you consider how much does your average car weigh now? And your crossover SUV, what, about 4,000-ish pounds, 45? Let's say on the light end, your lightest cars now are about 3,500 pounds maybe. And your heaviest everyday car, maybe, I think those 5 and 7 series, well, really the 7 series and whatnot, they're tipping the scale at what, 5,000, 5,500, something like that. And so you can practically run a small car hauler business with an F350, right? Vic says Florida and Texas are going to be the last to get flying cars. I swear to God, yeah, because we're going to be too busy rolling coal. Right? And Doug says, that's crazy torque. That is crazy torque. That's pull your house apart torque. It really is. No, it's probably belt driven. Right? And Compassion says, is this sucking air or something? No, it's probably belt driven. Those superchargers. There's two different type of superchargers. Right? But yeah. All right, y'all. Let Z truly pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. By the way, Fast and Furious 1, the charger, supercharged. Or when they say blown, yeah, like blower, yeah, all of that. But yeah, so we will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great, great rest of y'all night. And shout out to Dr. Thunder with the Savage Gang. That was hysterical. And yeah, like I said, Mr. Z is walking around here with the L on his back. Maybe. We'll still see how the story develops, but I'll take it. Right, I'll take it. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all night. Let me go spend some time with Miss Z while I can, and come back to y'all maybe tomorrow with a stream, depending on what I want to talk about. Right. I really want to have another call. Shout out to. We'll end up with this. That stream on AB's channel. Shout out to AB Media 83. That was a great stream about. We started off speaking about the debate, the presidential debate. Shout out to Compassionate for that short on his channel with from Family Guy with the two old dudes fighting. That was funny. And then we transitioned on AB's channel into just speaking geopolitics and all the other good stuff. So shout out to AB. I really need to get back on my political talk because I love it. And all right, so we'll pause on that for real. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Um, great rest of your night. I don't know what's going on with Z right now. I'm not drunk. I didn't drink, unfortunately. And y'all have a great rest of your night. All right, Z out. Yes, no scrubs is coming soon. No scrubs is coming soon. All right, y'all. Z out.